We got some 49ers to get into because today they have a joint practice with the Tennessee Titans. But I think if we take stock of their entire training camp, well, I guess I'll just ask you how you're feeling about 49ers training camp so far and everything that's happened, because the 49ers have had some interesting off seasons in the last 3 to 5 years, but you know, this one can be added to the list, E.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, all well wishes to the Johnsons. And like the 49ers, it feels like we're playing a man down today, because the bigger question for me is not how they play in the joint practice. It's who's going to be in the joint practice. I have no clue right now for the San Francisco 49ers who's going to be there today, who's going to be on the field on Thursday for this preseason game. It feels like it's going to be a lot of 66s and 78s and 81s and they're not 81s, like 83s. It's just going to be a bunch of numbers that are probably going to have to play at some point this year, but it screams to me load management. And we're talking here on August 11th. I'm looking at you. You got your blue shirt on again. You've been wearing that one a lot lately. I can tell you're confident in it. Matches your eyes. But I'm wondering...
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
I have brown eyes.
Yeah, they're more opal. But the point is, I have no clue who's going to be on the practice field for the 49ers.
No, we don't. Bosa's missed a week. McCaffrey's... You know what? Here's how their training camp can be summed up. Tightness and soreness. Soreness and tightness. They got soreness, they got tightness and soreness. And they haven't been practicing a lot. McCaffrey sat out yesterday. Who knows if he's going to participate today. But, man, I just feel like the 49ers training camps and off seasons have been, have set the table for the regular season. And I don't like where they're at right now. And they have a lot of players out. They have a head coach who's recuperating. And I don't know. I don't know what to expect from the 49ers this season. I don't know if they're going to be a good team, a mediocre team, or less than that. That's where I'm at right now, because there's just so much uncertainty with these players and the status of their health.
Is it crazy of me to want a contract negotiation right now? Like instead of the injuries, and the Niners have anywhere from 15 to 20 guys down, it appears right now. And I was just looking around other training camps because I realized that injuries happen, but not many, if any, other NFL teams are dealing with the amount of guys down, especially at important positions as the 49ers. But in past years, you're right. It's been the Aiyuk thing, or it's been the Bosa thing, or maybe it was Debo back in 2022. I would almost take that over this. I would almost take us coming in every day talking about how, Bosa's trying to get the max contract, and this guy and that guy is trying to get over on the 49ers. And I think it's funny that the moment that Parag Marate leaves, the Niners don't have any contracts to negotiate, because that's the guy we hear about all the time, trying to get every single penny out of these dudes. And I'm not left feeling any better about this team, despite they don't have to pay anybody. We haven't spent a single second this summer discussing a quarterback contract or whether they should extend. Maybe it's, Trent or CMC. No, it's been about who can stay on the football field. And in that respect, Steiny, I don't have an answer.
No, me neither. And I don't know. Would you, I guess Brandon Aiyuk right now isn't really an injury or a contract situation. He's just not available. But I think you're right. When Nick Bosa held out a few years back and signed, I think a few days before the opener, even at that point, it seemed leading up to the regular season opener, obviously he missed training camp, but it never felt like he was going to miss any part of the season. And so then he gets in right before the Pittsburgh game, and he actually plays well against Pittsburgh. So, he didn't have to go through a training camp, and maybe that's one of the reasons why he was, healthy at the start of that season. Trent Williams is another one. You can be annoyed by his holdouts, but we also kind of realize, does he really need training camp at his age? But it's everybody else. It's Evans. It's McCaffrey. Now it's Bosa. What's going to go on with George Kittle? Pearsall's out for the year. It's one of those things where it feels already, Evan, like a lot of things are going to have to go right for the Niners to be a good football team this year. Whether we're sick of talking about health or not, the reality is when this many people show up on the injury report, it gives you cause for concern heading into the year, especially a team like the Niners that have a lot of veteran players.
And I guess the question is, all right, how much of this is just on football and how much of this is the 49ers' responsibility? Because they chose to bring in Mike Evans. And look, by all accounts, it doesn't appear that the quad is going to linger into week one, and he'll probably be out there. But if he's not, then you're looking at a wide receiver room that's led by a second-round rookie and a 30-year-old Deebo Samuel, along with Demarcus Robinson. So you're right. They're a Jenga tower right now that doesn't have a lot of foundational pieces. And if you pull one of those out, it could crumble, and we're talking about that on August 11th. I think last season it was different because although they dealt with a lot of injuries, people were curious about how the Niners would respond to their, 6 or 7 win season?
Right.
But I don't know if they were really worried about the Niners just being able to stay on the field. They were wondering, does Brock Purdy still have it? Is Nick Bosa still good? How much left in the tank does Christian McCaffrey have and Trent Williams? And to some extent, those questions are the same, but now it's not about, well, how good are they as players? It's how many games are they going to play? And that to me is never a place you want to be in football because injuries are going to happen to every team. But if you're an injury prone, if you're if you're a brittle football squad, I don't care how good the resume of your players are. I don't care how much they've accomplished because it's impossible to predict what this Niners team is going to be outside of the fact that you're right. They need a lot to go right just to be good. And they're third in their division right now. So that's the other part. It's like, how good is this Niners team at full strength? We're going to see. But even that potential leaves me wanting more.
Yeah, and if I were to ask 49er fans, how they feel right at this point, we're going into a joint practice on August 11th with the Tennessee Titans. Their first preseason game is Thursday. The NFL regular season is in 3 or 4 weeks. And, first of all, if I have a couple questions, it would be this. One is, how important is training camp in terms of setting a table for the season? I feel like I've been through enough 49er training camps to kind of know when they're clicking and they're kind of together. I thought last year was kind of like that a little bit, but they've had some off seasons in the past where it just hasn't led into the kind of season they want. And so if I were to ask 49er fans, here we are, 2-3 weeks into training camp, what are you most concerned about with this team? I don't know how it can't be the age and the durability of their key players. If you think there's a bigger issue than that, that's fine. We can talk about it. But to me, everything that's happened in training camp kind of fortifies the concern about the age of this team and whether they can stay healthy. That's just the way it is. In terms of what's going well for them or what I'd be optimistic about, first and foremost is Brock Purdy. You have a quarterback that's been around. He knows the system. He's become a leader. And anytime your quarterback is the foundation or the guy you can rely on the most, I think that's a good thing. So I would say Purdy is obviously one of the top positives. Stribling looks like he's going to play at the very least. I don't know how good he's going to be, but it looks like he's going to play.